of the FISA courts, the courts that allow the government to spy on you, by making judges subject to presidential appointment and Senate confirmation, bringing a little democracy and transparency to the process. Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California may find that bill familiar. To his credit, by the way, he introduced the exact same bill verbatim, word for word, 5 years ago. But apparently this time he's not eager to back his own law. Why is that? Did his principles change, or just his short-term political calculations? We've invited Congressman Matt Gaetz to join us, as well as former Hillary Clinton campaign advisor Richard Goodstein. Welcome to you both. To you, Congressman, first. This is word for word the same bill, and tell me if I'm wrong, and the person who wrote the bill is refusing to support it this time, or seems like he won't. Why is that?
It seems odd, Tucker, that when Barack Obama was president, Democrats wanted to give the president more power to work with the Senate to get members of the FISA court that aren't part of the D.C. swamp, but that come from all over America and have the opportunity to represent the values that Americans hold dear regarding their liberties. I didn't change one comma in Adam Schiff's bill. I refiled it because I think that Republicans and Democrats are going to be in power in the future, and if there are bipartisan ideas that would have more transparency and more oversight and protect our civil liberties, I think we ought to work together rather than working separately.
So did he send you a thankful text when you did that?
You know, I asked for him to co-sponsor it, and I just haven't heard back yet, Tucker. It's a strange coincidence.
That? Richard, would you mind calling him? I mean, and by the way, I just want to be totally clear. Good for Adam Schiff, whom I rarely compliment, for introducing this bill in the first place 5 years ago. It seems like a common sense reform of the kind we need. Why wouldn't he support it now?
Can I just remind you why he introduced the bill? This was in light of the Edward Snowden leaks, right? There were, thanks to WikiLeaks, who were vilified by Republicans back then, and Donald Trump says, I love WikiLeaks on the campaign trail, okay? So my point is, things get twisted in odd ways. You'll have to ask Adam Schiff what his problem is.
No, hold on, no. He wasn't just vilified by Republicans, but also by Democrats.
Absolutely.
Just to be fair. And I don't know why Republicans didn't support it then. They should support it, and so should everyone. But honestly, how could Adam Schiff, who poses as a man of principle, fail to support his own bill? That doesn't make sense, does it?
Again, I think the rules of the Senate have actually changed about confirming judges. So I think you'd have to ask him. I'm not here as his defender.
You're a little disappointed, though. You'd have to be, right?
I think, back then he had Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley and other liberal Democrats who were supporting the principle in the interest of protecting individual freedoms. So, yeah, I think there's something behind it.
8 of them still cared about that.
Of course. Why does it have to be partisan?
None do now. Well, I totally agree. So, but all of this gets to the core question in these dueling memos, Republican and Democrat, Nunes and Schiff, get to the question of the FISA warrant. What did the DOJ say in order to spy on Carter Page? Why can't we see that? Why can't we decide for ourselves?
We should, Tucker, and I'm glad that the White House has joined the call to see more of what was in this FISA application, and I think that we'll be able to see things that Adam Schiff wrote that are verifiably untrue. And I think that will bolster the claims that we're making on the Republican side that there needs to be reform and there needs to be accountability for people at the FBI who withheld the political origins of this dossier from the court. That's the real problem here. There's no dispute that cash at the DNC was convertible into a government-sponsored warrant to spy on American citizens. And whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, that should concern you because it could happen to any of us. That's why we need reform. And frankly, it'd be nice if we didn't all, go to our separate corners politically, if we found some ideas that Republicans or Democrats had offered that would provide the transparency and oversight to give the American people confidence.
Well, I agree. And I hope, Richard, and who knows, but I really sincerely hope if the roles were reversed and the RNC had paid for a document that some Republican administration had used to spy on a rival political campaign, that I would be principled enough to say, you know what, that is an abuse of power, because it is. Why? And I'm sure you agree as a civil libertarian, you just said that you were. We should be worried about that. So why shouldn't we see the FISA application?
You know, I am a civil libertarian, but I'm more so an American citizen who cares for kind of the integrity of the United States. And I think what the FBI was concerned with, for good reason, I believe, is that Carter Page was, as they concluded, a foreign agent. And maybe they didn't even know what the Trump people knew. I will say this. The Russians approached one campaign and one campaign only, the Trump campaign, not the Clinton campaign.
I know he's in the pocket of Putin. We've heard this before.
No, but I'm saying...
But it's really simple. Why can't we just see the FISA application? It's really, this is our government. They spied on an American citizen. Perhaps they had good reason. Perhaps they didn't. Why can't we know?
Well, you have to ask the FISA court.
But why wouldn't you support that? Why don't Democrats say, let's end this nonsense and find out why they did this?
So it's a question of kind of what the relevant rules are, because the FISA is secret by design. But again, the fact of the matter is, what Schiff said and is unrebutted is that the dossier had relatively little role in
Let's
getting that
find
warrant.
out.
Fine.
Let's find out.
And it was in a footnote. There was a reference.
How do we know? Why don't look? Is there any support in the Congress for ending? If the Russians want to control our political process, they're doing it now by paralyzing everything with this stupid debate, which we could end instantly by making this stuff public. Is there support for doing that in your Congress?
I believe that there's support on the Republican side to release the entire FISA application as long as we're able to redact sources and methods where I think we should be able to find agreement. I don't think the Democrats will want to do that because the dossier was the lead piece of evidence. It's what every lawyer you know, Tucker, starts with their best evidence.
And
we should.
And I agree with the congressman. I agree with the congressman that this should be put out. But again, there's no disputing that the whole investigation preceded the dossier being concluded. Papadopoulos was the tip of that spear.
We don't know that. And let's just find out, and then we'll do a show on it after that. Maybe we could not do any Russia until the Congress releases this and lets the people decide what they think. And we can put this to bed.
Good luck.
God bless
I'd be for
you.
it.
Both. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thanks, Tucker.
Barbara Streisand's out and about. She says the president caused the Parkland shooting, apparently via black magic. We'll tell you how.